Hello everybody, this is John. Welcome to the NCGA FMC Ag Weather Outlook, April 4th, 2015. I want to apologize for my voice. I'm sort of fighting a spring cold here, so put up with me on this briefing. Let's start off by taking a look at March precipitation departure. You might have seen this. I put it out this past week. This gives some idea of the entire month of March, whether there was a surplus or deficit of precipitation. Now, areas in yellow, that's indicating from 1 to 3 inches less precipitation than would normally occur in a month of March. So if you look at the entire Corn Belt, most of the area had a deficit of precipitation in March. Now you can see that real highly active band right along the Ohio River that brushed part of the southern Corn Belt, southern Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, but most of it was in Kentucky and even parts of Tennessee. Now, over the last 7 days, that was the hot spot by far. You might have heard of some flooding in Louisville, as well as some severe weather. Take a look there at that area of red there I've circled. That's indicating an estimate of 5 inches of rainfall over the Louisville area. We have some significant rises going down the Ohio River. If we want to look at the percent of normal, sort of a mishmash here, some areas above, some below, not a real clear pattern one way or the other, with the exception of that precipitation over the Ohio River. Might not be a bad idea to look at this once again, the past 30-day departure. And again, the area in yellow is areas that we need to get some more rain, hopefully in a more well-organized fashion, not all at once in the near future. So snow depth, I keep on thinking I'm not going to show this, but I take a look at it. A little bit of snow, all light amounts up by the Great Lakes, scattering of some snow flurries here and there, but for the most part, not much snow at all. Now, temperatures last week remained in that pattern, mostly with the colder air in the east, warmer air in the west. And this pattern here, I want to keep on bringing this up here. We have to be somewhat concerned about this because I don't see a real break in this pattern with well above normal temperatures, and it's also been dry. So I'm having a growing concern over warm and dry conditions in the Dakotas, Kansas, Nebraska, and maybe even western Minnesota and Iowa. So let's keep an eye on this. I just want to bring that up, that I am having some concern. If we look at soil moisture, we can also see that the soils are continuing to dry. When we get in the areas in red, that's very dry. That's in the less than the 5 percentile. Areas in brown are in the 10 percentile or to 25%, right in that range. So we're really looking at a need for extra precipitation. Now, this isn't just in the last month. This was due to a lack of winter snow recharge, winter precipitation, but it's continuing into spring. I also want to bring up that the eastern Corn Belt, parts of it, I wouldn't call it unusually wet. Now, I don't think this is reflective. This is not picking up the recent rainfall over the last couple days, but generally speaking, the eastern Corn Belt's in fairly good shape. But I'm going to be talking about some heavy rain in this area this week that could pose a problem. Now, the change that I'm seeing, and I mentioned this the last couple briefings, is that pattern of that upper ridge over the west and the trough over the east, with the warm air over the west and the cooler air over the east. Remember, I just showed you that temperature graphic. That's breaking down, and we're getting more into a springtime pattern. So early this week, this is the upper jet stream pattern. You can see it bowing well to the north, and that's going to generally mean warmer temperatures over the entire region. Now, if I look out further, this is late this week. This will be our weather maker. There's an upper system here coming through, very slow moving, and that's going to bring us a multiple day chance of precipitation as this comes through, with increasing chances of rain later this week. So this is Thursday, and here's your surface low right here. This is precipitable water. This is that real deep level moisture. So when I see these light shades here, I'm looking at very potentially deep moisture, which gives us potential for heavy rain. And this is another sign of spring. Look how far north this brings it. Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, well to the north. So there is that potential for heavy rain later this week. Now, temperatures look like we're going to be warming up. Browns are above normal, blues are below normal. This is this week. And even as we get into the middle part of April, look at this, no signs of that unusually cool weather. We're looking at near normal temperatures to slightly above normal temperatures as we get into the middle of the month. And then as we get into the latter part of the month, not much change. Generally speaking, near normal temperatures. So I think the concern over that unusually cool spring is waning, and we're getting back to sort of a normal temperature profile, perhaps above normal over the upper Midwest. So here's my precipitation concern this week. Right now there's a band of very heavy rain over the eastern Corn Belt, generally from St. Louis across southern Illinois, central and southern Indiana into Ohio. That area has been modestly wet, so there is some concern of soils getting quite wet in that area here, and we're going to look for some drying after this. That's what we're going to need because this is going to really soak the soils in this region. Now, the area that needs the precipitation, look at this, not much at all. So that's sort of what we've seen. Wet areas getting rain, dry areas remaining dry. A bit of snow in the remaining colder air over the far northern U.S., and I think that's about it as far as snow goes. Okay, so precipitation anomalies for week 1 and week 2. Here's week 1. We do see that wet anomaly. This has been really the wet pattern right along the Ohio River. Looks like it's going to be a little bit further north this time over the eastern Corn Belt. And here's, I guess, the good news. At least next week, there's a strong signal right now for below normal precipitation over the area that's wet this week. So even though it's going to be very wet this week, it looks like we're going to have a break next week. It will not be back-to-back wet weeks. We see that on our outlooks, the 6 to 10 day as well. On the left, our temperature, and that's saying above normal. On the right, precipitation above normal. So this week, warmer than normal, wetter than normal. And then next week, remaining above normal temperatures, but below normal precipitation. Now, as far as soil temperatures go, I think we've sort of seen a lag so far this season, but I think we're going to see a real pop in soil temperatures over the next couple of weeks. Now, this is where we're starting at here. The yellow is the start of the 60 degree, and look by the end of the week. Look how far north that comes. Again, this is the start of the week, the end of the week. So that strong push, remember that strong push of moisture? That's going along. It's sort of helping push the temperatures up, and that's going to help warm up the soil. So we're seeing a very significant increase in soil temperatures this week, and I think that's going to continue for the next couple of weeks. Maybe not quite as much as this week, but I do think that's going to continue. So here are your takeaway points. Mostly above normal temperatures the rest of the month of April. I do have a concern with wet conditions over parts of the eastern Corn Belt, generally southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and southern Ohio. I have a continuing concern of dry conditions over the west, warm and dry. And then overall soils look like they will be warming quicker than normal this week. And the good news for the eastern Corn Belt, it looks like after this potentially heavy rain this week, next week should be drier. So thank you for listening and putting up with my voice here on this briefing. Hopefully by next week I'll be a little bit better. If you have any questions, you can always send them to me. There's my email. Have a great Easter. Have a great week.